Anyone in logistics knows this feeling, right? It's that constant battle between being totally burnt out and hopelessly stuck behind some massive operational bottleneck. It feels like you're either putting out fires or just waiting for the next one to pop up. So today, we're going to dig into why that is and explore a quiet revolution that's starting to change the whole game.
Yeah, this quote right here, it just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? I mean, this isn't some abstract idea. It's the day-to-day for so many logistics teams. You're constantly creating workarounds, juggling emails and spreadsheets just to make things happen. And actual planning, that feels like a total luxury you just don't have time for.
And yep, here they are, the usual suspects. I bet this list looks pretty familiar. Manually tracking anything, fighting with invoices and spreadsheets, chasing people for updates. And look, these things aren't just little headaches. They're the things that slowly but surely grind you down and lead straight to that burnout we're talking about.
Right, so you take all those little daily frustrations and they start to pile up. They create what you could call a breaking point. It's like this hidden tax you're paying every single day. A tax on your time, your money, and honestly, your team's sanity. Let's take a look at what that really costs.
And that human cost, it's just staggering. I mean, look at this number. Almost 60%. 60% of supply chain pros say they're more stressed out now than before the pandemic. That's a huge deal.
And all that stress, it leads somewhere. People are burning out and heading for the exits. We're talking about nearly 1 in every 3 people in the industry thinking about leaving it for good. Just imagine the brain drain. All that experience walking right out the door. Okay, now let's talk about the money side of this because, wow, it's a big number. We're looking at an estimated $1.8 trillion. Trillion with a T. That's the annual cost of all these inefficiencies across the globe. That is just, it's mind-boggling, right? It's a massive hole in the bucket.
So what this all really means is that burnout isn't just some soft HR issue. No, it's a critical operational risk. It really is a domino effect. You lose your best people, that means processes slow down, which of course drives up your costs, and then boom, your customers feel it. It's this really nasty cycle that just eats away at the business from the inside.
But here's the thing. What if there was a way to break out of that cycle? And that's where this idea of custom tech comes into play. Now, hang on. Before you think, oh, great, another massive software project, that's not what this is. It's actually much smarter. It's more of a quiet revolution, one that works with the systems you've already got. You know, for so long, the only option for new tech seemed to be this rip and replace approach. You'd have to tear out your old systems, and it was always painful, always expensive, and honestly super risky. But the new way of thinking is all about augment and adapt. Instead of starting from scratch, you build on what you have. Okay, so what is this custom tech we're talking about? Let's break it down. The best way to think about it is like this. Your current systems, your ERP, your TMS, that's your core machine. It's powerful. Custom tech isn't a whole new machine. It's more like a set of really smart, specialized attachments you can snap on to make it better. And these are the tools that make it all happen. These are the building blocks. You've got things like APIs, which are basically just ways for different software to talk to each other. You have AI that can predict problems before they even happen. There's OCR, optical character recognition, which can read documents for you. No more manual data entry. And RPA, robotic process automation, which handles all those repetitive clicks and keystrokes. These are the pieces that let you build targeted fixes without messing up your main setup. All right, so that's the theory. Let's get into the good stuff, how this actually works in the real world. We're going to look at how this tech helps teams move from constantly fixing things to actually being in a state of flow. And this right here, this shows you just how bad the problem is. Think about it. Up to 75% of a team's time can be spent just in damage control, chasing problems, reacting to fires. That leaves what, 25% for actually thinking ahead, for planning? It's just not enough. So let's make this concrete. Here's a real-world case study. We're talking about a huge global electronics brand, and they were in that classic situation, constantly battling shipment delays with basically zero real-time visibility. They were living and breathing damage control. So they brought in a custom tech solution, basically a control tower built with APIs and AI, and the results were, well, they were pretty dramatic. Check this out. Detention bills dropped by 45%. Their entire process, from order to dock, got 18% faster. And maybe the biggest one of all, They could finally give their customers ETAs they could actually trust. That changes everything. And look, I know what you might be thinking. Sure, that works for a giant global company, but this isn't just for the big players. Here's another example, a regional 3PL. They were absolutely drowning in paperwork, trying to manually check invoices from dozens of different carriers. A total nightmare. So for them, a custom freight audit solution was the answer. And the impact was huge. They cut their overpayments by a whopping 70%, and they reduced the manual work needed by 60%. And here's the real kicker. It wasn't just about saving money. It freed up their people to actually focus on getting new clients and growing the business. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But the big question is always, how do you even start something like this? Well, the good news is you don't need to block out the next 2 years on your calendar. This can all kick off with a really practical 90-day roadmap. The whole idea here is to start small, get quick wins, and build momentum. So phase 1, the first month, just focus on visibility. Get everything in one place so you have a single source of truth. No more hunting through spreadsheets. Then, phase 2, you go after the biggest pain points. You automate those super repetitive, soul-crushing tasks. And finally, phase 3, once you've proven it works, you start to scale it up and really see those savings multiply. And this really brings everything full circle, back to the most important piece of the puzzle. This isn't just about automation for automation's sake. It's about empowering your people. It's about taking the frustrating robotic work off their plates so they can use their brains for what they were hired to do, solve complex problems. And that really paints the picture of the future, the end goal here. It's about moving away from the chaos and constant reactions of today and toward what you could call a zero-touch world. A world where one smart AI-driven system handles all the routine stuff, where your operations are proactive, not reactive, and where your talented team members only have to step in when there's a real exception, a real problem to solve. So to wrap this all up, we want to leave you with one final question to think about for your own team. Is your team built to just fix problems as they come up, or is it truly built and empowered to prevent them from happening in the first place? Because how you answer that, well, that's probably going to shape your next few years in this industry.